Canada. Hello, United States of America. Greetings to every single one of you in Costa Rica, where I happen to be, and of course, all over the planet. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Kevin J. Johnston Show, wishing you an absolutely very, 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 very Merry Christmas, because Christmas is our culture. Regardless of what anyone says, I could not care less. I'm going to wish you a Merry Christmas, and we'd like all of you to celebrate that. Tonight, we're going to be talking about this ridiculous Trump nonsense, the 14th Amendment, and how it's improperly being used. We're going to be having April LaJune joining us very shortly, in fact, and we've got Vladislav Slobolev joining us in a few minutes to talk about how men can become more masculine. As always, we have people, everybody, we have the 50-50 draw. This show is the only Canadian podcast giving you free money. All right, guys, free cash, 50-50 draw. Go to KevinJJohnston.me, buy your tickets. They're $10 each. The winner gets half the pot. That's right. You guys get half the pot emailed to you directly, immediately following the show. And welcome. I've got to just let everybody know, excuse me, on the screen here, you'll see that I put my name in to run for the mayor of my hometown. That's the city of Mississauga. Population 1.2 million. It was about population 200,000 when I was growing up, and it was a lot more fun as a kid. But the current mayor, Bonnie Crombie, is stepping down. Why? Because she somehow got elected to be the leader of the Liberal Party of Ontario, who only got 8 seats in the last election. So we're hoping that that particular move fails miserably for her. But that means that City Council is going to have to write a bylaw that then allows them to have a by-election. So the by-election will come up sometime in May, June, or July, which means we can campaign online. I'm not going to Mississauga right now, but we're going to have to campaign online. Isn't it scary that in Canada, everybody, I must campaign solely on the internet from not one, not two, but five countries away from Canada? It is horrible to think that I simply cannot go back to my hometown and run a proper campaign there. But you all saw what happened. Every single time I ran a campaign, the police would arrest me or harass me. The cities would take my signs. Antifa would steal my signs. There was always some kind of nonsense going on that would have government involvement in sabotaging my mayor runs. Well, here we go. Mississauga mayor run. The slogan is join the revolution, because Canada requires a full-blown revolution. And if I got in, believe me, there would be. We would start that up as immediately as we possibly could. Want to say hello, Hesham. Thanks for being here. Yeah, Hesham, this is exactly it. That's how I used to do my show in my garage in Mississauga. It was a TV behind me there putting up slides. There we go. All right. The revolution will not be televised. And that's Dan from Montreal. Hey, Dan, thanks for being here. Certainly do appreciate that. If anybody has questions on tonight's show for me, for Vlad, or for April, post them here on TikTok, post them anywhere on Rumble, Facebook, or otherwise. We will get to your questions as quickly as we can. That's right. Vlad is in Mexico. He will be joining us in a very few minutes. So we're going to cover some quick things here. This photograph here, which unfortunately you cannot see on TikTok, this is a locust. And look at that. It covers about 75% of the size of my hand. The thing is huge. It got stuck in a pool filter. And that is what Justin Trudeau and Klaus Schwab and all the others want you guys to eat. And if you remember, we did a full 2-hour show on why you should not eat insects. Bugs are not for human consumption. To summarize, the chitin, it's spelled chitin, but it's pronounced chitin. The chitins in there are a god-awful sugar that our bodies are not designed to deal with and cannot break down. You'll get sick. And of course, that is what our governments want, for you to eat copious amounts of bugs and get sick. I'd like all of you, Ed, just a second, let me finish my thought. I'd like all of you to pay attention now to everything. Have a look to make sure that there are no cricket powders or insect parts deliberately as part of the ingredients list. Ed, go ahead.
I've been coming across studies where they're saying that chitin, which is the shell of these mollusks or bugs, is actually carcinogenic. Yep.
It is. It is. Insect chitin, which again is it's the sugars that hold the their exoskeletons together are highly toxic. You eat bugs every day for a year, I guarantee you'll be in bed all day long, unable to walk, unable to think and function. You might even get cancer out of the deal. So do not eat bugs, not now and not ever. Thank you to Gord, who's in Winnipeg right now. He just bought 6 tickets for the 50-50 draw tonight. Let's get you all buying some tickets there. Brenda in Alberta has just bought 2 tickets. So thank you to Gord and to Brenda for that. 50-50 draw tonight, guys. Someone's taking home half the pot. Quickly here, British Columbia, that's the flag of the Canadian province of British Columbia. As of May 1st, you will not be allowed to Airbnb out or do short-term rentals on your own personal property. So much for private property rights in the province of British Columbia. That is, of course, going to be followed up with the province of Ontario, possibly late summer, and all of Canada. So you invest your money in a property to make money on it, and now you're not allowed to make money on it. Isn't that ridiculous? Yes, and cockroach milk is something that I have heard about as well, Carmelie Merritt. So it's coming, folks. You have to read the ingredients packages on everything that you're buying now, because they will sneak this garbage in there. This statue here is in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. This is the, I forget the name of the god. It's a Hindu monkey god. And this thing has caused controversy. Now, obviously, this statue, it's I don't know, it's kind of cool, it's kind of ugly, it's kind of everything in between. It has nothing to do with Canadian culture at all. And I mean nothing to do with it at all. But this statue is on private property. So I have no say in a massive 50-foot tall Hindu statue being on private property in Brampton, Ontario, which is right now something ridiculous, like only 30% white, which used to be 100% white. It's now mostly Indian, Pakistani, and Sikh. So, and that was done by design. And the problem is, Ed, that this statue is now, it's been threatened. The Islamic groups in Brampton have threatened to demolish it, damage it, break it, and so on. And so have the Calistanis. And that's the big problem with Canada, everybody, is that regrettably, we have all these gangs now, all these groups that absolutely hate each other. These gangs and groups, they're not in any way white, but they will blame white people when the Islamic groups decide to destroy this statue, or the Calistanis decide to destroy the statue, because Calistanis and Muslims do not like Hindus and vice versa. Ed, what the hell, man? Let's have a look at the statue one more time. Let's get your thoughts on this thing. Go ahead.
Hang on, I'm looking for other pictures. I don't know if that's the accurate one. So I've seen other renditions of that statue.
Yeah, well, that is the one. I figured it out.
Krishna?
I know which Mandir. No, it's not Krishna. It's Monkey something. I forget his name. But I just wanted to say here is that it is going to be vandalized. It will not be vandalized by Christians or conservative white folks or conservative Canadians born here. It'll be from the gangs of select religions who hate each other, who will go out of their way. Oh, Hanuman. Hanuman? Thank you, Adrian. So it's the god Hanuman. What's he the god of? Because there's only something like 30,000 gods in Hinduism. So which one is it? He's going to look that up for us. And Hesham, who's not quite white, says, white man bad, as the mainstream media likes to say. Hesham, of course, is on our side. All right, there you go. Always a pleasure to have Hesham on the show. He's been watching since day number 1. Yeah, God of the Handyman, is that what it is? And what about the large temple they built in Brampton, Ontario? Well, folks, it is private property. So I'm not going to sit there and complain that somebody is building something on private property, but I am going to state that it's just not our culture. It's not Canadian culture. It's not Western culture. It's not North American culture. They're cool to see, but it is the watering down of everything Canadian. That's just how that is. All righty. Next, got to cover this next. I decided after Hamas said some really ridiculous things, and after Palestinians said some really ridiculous things, Hamas came right out and made brazen statements that all homosexuals must die and will die. And then Islamic groups who have they've decided to turn on Gays for Palestine, which is a really stupid idea. But Gays for Palestine, they're gay folks who are flying Palestinian flags saying that we appreciate Palestine are getting beat up by Palestinians and Palestinian supporters all over North America. Wow, I knew that was coming. So with Hamas stating that they wish to light every homosexual on fire, which is Hamas's words, I decided to redesign their flag. So here is the new Hamas flag. What do you think, everybody? If anybody wants to see what I'm talking about here on TikTok, go to your browser, type in freedomreport.ca, and that will take you to the Rumble channel where you can see everything live. All right. Ed, what do you think? You think Hamas is going to be upset about this?
You think?
I asked you.
Yeah, I think they're going to get quite upset about this.
Yeah, good. Well, here's what it stands for now. So I'm saying LGBTQ plus is now HLGBTQ plus M, which means Hamas lesbian gay boys twerk queerly plus more. How does that sound? So, hey, Hamas, you're all gay. And I know you hate being called that. Woo!
I don't know, Kevin.
Okay.
If you're trying to start a civil war, keep it up.
Civil war? What does that have to do with the civil war? That's just Hamas being as vulgar and crass as they can be, and I'm calling them out on it. So there we go. And a quick thing also, have a look at the TV behind me here. It says KevinJJohnston for mayor of my hometown of Mississauga. I got a phone call yesterday from a police officer telling me that I need to reconsider. I should not run for public office because they might be forced to get a warrant for my arrest.
Isn't that interesting? So you have
they called this. At least they did the courtesy of calling this time.
So you don't even have any rights under their charter as being a Canadian citizen. They're denying your rights to run for public office. How does that work?
It's Canada. Canada is a communist, Marxist, fascist dump run by the worst of the worst. And that was it. Oh, and redneck, no, they caught me off guard. I actually was I was sweating buckets because I just worked out in the gym. And when you work out in Costa Rica, your shirt sticks to you. You need help getting it off. So I'm just, and the phone call came in. I took the call. So no, I did not get that recorded, unfortunately. Believe me, I wish I had. I'm going to start carrying 2 phones now, so I always have a recorder handy. All right. Is Vlad ready to come on the show? Yeah. Okay, everybody. So we got a treat for you tonight. Vladislav Slobelev, the creator of Hugs Over Masks, the man that traveled all over Canada to remind you that you had rights, the right not to wear a mask. He highly recommended, like I did, that you do not get those damn poison needles, and he saved lives. And that's good. Vladislav Slobelev, welcome back to the show.
How's it going, gentlemen?
Well, we're doing great, man. How is Mexico treating you?
I mean, it's good. Sunshine, fresh air, not many chemtrails, and definitely feel much freer in Mexico over China. And then just the reality of life that, as you just mentioned, if you want to do anything with your life in Canada, the police is up our butts, right away. So it's just the reality, and then people need to be aware of what's happening, right? So I want to come up on your show. Thank you for having me as always, and just to give updates. The Strong Farmers Hub. That's
Vlad.
Yes.
Sorry, brother. Can you come closer to the microphone because you're very drowned out?
Sure.
And besides, you got a half decent looking face, so make it bigger. There you go. Bring it.
All right.
Bring it closer. There we go.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Go ahead.
So there's still a little bit echo here, so hopefully not too bad now. But let me know. So the point is, the updates for the Strong Farmers Hub is that the location is getting fixed up as we speak. We're going to be opening during the high season for everyone to come and participate in this venture, meaning that everyone from the freedom movement in Canada can come and stay. It's a hostel style setting. We're going to have rooms for women. We're going to have rooms for men. and we're going to have some apartments available for families if you want to come as a family too. So the idea is we're going to be doing the fundraising pool right now, so then during the low season we can maintain running this place and not to be strapped up for cash and stuff like that. So that's basically the main update. We're going to have a booking site up and running by next week, but just over the Christmas is getting finished up. And the point is people will be able to reserve their stay here, either in the area shared with other people, or if you want to get their own apartment and then bring as many people as they want, just let us know. We can accommodate reasonably, of course. The idea again for this location is to be a hub of freedom, of creation, of support, and resistance. You know, as we just discussed, we need to. Sometimes I joke around. You need to go south to free the north. So you went south, right. I went south, right? And the reality is, what I'm doing here now in Mexico, there's no way I would be able to do that in Canada. In fact, I reflected that I was looking for a location to start a freedom hub for the last 3 years. You know, after the barbecue rebellion and Adamson Skelly place got shut down, I actually walked, I searched around Toronto, I searched around Vancouver, where I moved after that as well, to open a location of some sort where I can bring like-minded people together and we can work together to continue standing for the freedom, standing for the future of our children. And now I have that in Mexico, and I literally manifested this place. It's a beautiful 3-story, you saw it, and we just need to fix it up, which we're working right now. So we're going to be opening for reservations starting from next week.
Vlad, I just wanted to maybe recap what I know of what you're doing here. Is in Playa del Carmen in Mexico, which is, I think, slightly, is it northwest, of Cancun?
Yes.
It's on the beach. It's a beautiful little town. You've got a 3-story building, the whole thing, and you've got men coming down to be trained in how to be far more masculine men. Like you're building camaraderie in a society where men have become pushovers. They become weak and lost. You're going to help them get found. Is that essentially it?
That is correct. And we're going to have special workshops. So we're going to have weeks where if men come in during those weeks, we're going to learn carpentry. During different weeks, we're going to have mechanics training. We're going to have cooking classes. So the idea is the opening of a training center will be happening later in the spring. I'm going to do it on my son's birthday on April 30th. And for now, what I am doing is I'm opening this location for everyone, men and women and families to come and experience quarters of like a space that's conducive towards freedom, conducive towards working together. And the idea is also obviously inspire those people to open similar locations where they are. Because this is just an inaugural location. The idea is to have network. As I build networks of hugs and the masks and we all essential with businesses, this is just the next stage, the next chapter of me creating the network of support. And now we're doing it around fathers, because strong fathers are the pillars that support the societies. And that's why we've been under the attack as much as we have. Like myself, you know, I'm not even allowed to be with my firstborn son. And that's strictly because the government pretty much kidnapped, you know, and enforcing unlawful injustice orders now. And the reality is, you know, I can go for the appeal and we're going to be working on that. But at the same time, I'm not holding my breath, because the abuse is happening right now and the government is complicit and actually facilitating that. And I'm not going to tolerate that, and I don't think anybody should anyway.
All right. So in Playa del Carmen, maybe tell us a little bit about the town and why you selected that place. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this place is like you mentioned, just outside of Cancun. So a lot of flights go to Cancun, very reasonably priced flights fly to Cancun. It's about 40 minutes to get to Playa from the airport. You can use a bus, which is very reasonable to get to downtown. And it's a great community. They went through a major development over the last couple of years, so a lot more buildings are coming up. They're fixing the playgrounds for the kids. The beaches are always getting cleaned up by the workers. And it's just a great family town. Like my kids are much safer here than they are in Toronto and Vancouver, and just the reality of life, whether people like it or not. And yeah, my youngest daughter was born here, so I have a permanent residency already here in Mexico. If people want to learn more about that, they can mostly contact me and we can discuss those things. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is, you know, the concept of being on the right side. You know, when I launched the hoodie on the right side of history, and it became the most popular item of merchandise that we produced in over 2 years. And I kind of caught up on that notion because people usually think that they are right. Everyone thinks they are right, but if you have two opposing sides, which one is the right one? And I think what we need to do is we need to have more discussions. We need to have almost like a public square. And X, the former Twitter, is kind of like that. But I don't think they're pushing the limits in the sense of what people really want. It's better that you can have a discussion on Twitter, or X that is. But I think maybe we need to think of creating a more open public platform where discussions can take place, and more importantly, people can vote. And we have to figure out how the polling can be done similar to the way it's done on Twitter. But I think the engagement from the public, it would be interesting to watch, where people would have to record a video of saying why they would agree on one side or the other side. What do you think about that, Kevin?
Well, I think it's first off, your idea is phenomenal. And the other part of it is, what do I think about your approach to it? It's one that is absolutely necessary. Now, you see, the biggest thing here is that there's a lot of vacation resorts out there. And Vlad, no vacation resort or vacation concept involves anything about building masculinity. In fact, it's just come out, do an activity, give us your money, go away. That's what most things are. And look, I'm here in Costa Rica now on the West Coast, and I can tell you that you've got surf shops. So learn how to surf. Great. Now what? Or go whale watching. Great. Now what? You're no further ahead. You're not more masculine by the time the whole thing is said and done. We want to make sure that guys like yourself, who are helping men become men again, have the voice that they need. And you actually got a whole 3-story building to get this to happen. So you're totally committed to it. Some people are asking in the room here, what is the entire story? Well, I think we just covered that, Tina, is that Vlad wants to help men become men again. That's it. And in Playa del Carmen, where I was with you, Vlad, for 3 days, it's a cool town. It really is a cool town. And if you're on the main strip, everything's really expensive, prohibitively so. But go 2 streets over to where the locals are, and everything's completely affordable. So, yeah. I like the place. And
Vlad, if people want to learn more, they can go to coachvlad.com, which is linked right now to the fundraising page to get the center up and running. They can read a little bit about it. Their website, which is strongfathersHub.ca, the booking site will be available in the next few days, just after Christmas. And again, I'm open. Initially, the mindset, Kevin and I discussed with you, that this big place would be exclusive for men. And what happened is, once I started promoting it, I had a lot of women messaging me, what about us? And these women are good women. They understand the importance of men and women within a society, having different roles. And I had a reflection that I think it's almost like a healing aspect of having good women around men, because unfortunately a lot of us are jaded from experiences, and the only way to turn that around is actually to have good quality women around men, to show that not all women are bad, of course not, but it's to have women that understand the importance of supporting fathers within the society and doing what we can to elevate them within the society, because there's a real war on men's been going on multiple layers for decades. And this is the outcome where we have now, where the testosterone of men in their 20s of 80-year-old and masculinity is labeled as toxic, which is nonsense in itself. And at the same time, men don't even want to have children. Like, the amount of men that I speak with, and I ask them, if you have children or if you want to have children, it's actually very concerning, the response that I get. And what I do from my end, even having the experiences that I had with my firstborn son, I still don't regret becoming a father, because the whole paradigm shifts happens once you become a parent, and especially a father, because the responsibility that you have to take on now changes you as a man. It's almost a prerequisite for a man to become a real man, is becoming a father. And yes, some men don't, maybe not biological fathers, but you can still choose to be a father figure, right? You can still have some type of coaching practice or anything like that. And there's so many kids out there in the world that don't have parents in their life. They're either orphans, or they were left by one parent or the other. And I think that's going to be a cool thing having here in this space, at least for the first 3 months, is bringing men, women together in the space of on the same goal, understanding that fathers are essential and we need to elevate strong fathers within society. So, I'm excited for this opportunity. I'm grateful for everything that happened to me and all the storms, because they brought me to this place here, being able to stand in my mission and my purpose and create something very positive for the world.
Vlad, are you guys going to be doing any coaching down there?
Of course.
Well, how are you going to deal with people that are uncoachable?
They should be coming.
No, but if someone's uncoachable, how are they going to change?
No, but the point is, we're going to have a very specific description on the webpage. It's going to basically say that if you're not willing to live with intensity, don't come. If you're not willing to work on becoming better every single day, don't come. If you don't want to change the world for the better, don't come. Only come if you want to live with intensity, you want to wake up in the morning, you want to train with us, you want to create some positive change, you want to contribute to this place as well as the world. If you align in those things, then definitely come. Otherwise, don't. There's many places. We only can host, I would say, up to 50 people here at a time. I can't really have more than 50 people because it's good for 50, right? So I'm not.
Vlad, I want to make a comment. Actually, I had to, like what you said. There's 100% accurate. There's a lot of good women out there, but they're also lost. Men and women in general are lost. You see, we've got this radical feminist movement that's telling women, get divorced, be a slut. They actually have something out there called the slut phase. Break up with your husband, become a slut for 5, 10, 15 years, and then go back with your husband or find some beta cuck to be involved with. It's the worst advice you could possibly give. Why walk away from a husband that cares about you? Why walk away from your family so you can get pounded on? It's really gross. It's a gross way to think. So we've just allowed this to take over. We're not telling women that it's better to be a traditional woman. It's better to be a traditional wife. It's certainly going to be more rewarding if you're involved with a guy who loves you. I would tell women this: don't marry the guy you love, marry the guy who loves you, because your life will be phenomenal. And that's where you can come in and explain this to women who unfortunately have so much media pounding this negative garbage into their heads. Vlad, give me 1 second there, and I'll be right with you. 50-50 draw tonight, everybody. Don't forget, somebody is going to walk away with cash. I had to leave Canada to be able to give away cash on my show. Go to KevinJJohnston.me right now. Buy a ticket for just $10. Buy as many as you want, and someone's going to get paid right after the show. You can also head right over to your email box and send an email money transfer to freedomreport.ca at gmail.com. Win cash. On Tuesday, we had one of our fans here won $170. That's right. The pot was $340. They took half. Imagine that, everyone. Get your tickets now. Kevin J. Johnston is the only podcaster in Canada giving away cold, hard cash. Vlad, you're up.
Yes, I'm going to be wrapping up soon. Just want to share a couple more things and I got to run. But the idea is to continue going forward, continue pushing forward. I say I wake up every single morning with one goal with 2 parts. And the goal is to become better myself and make the world a better place for all children, my own included. And I think if more people just would have that simple, not easy, but simple goal every day, their life will change for them and around them, right? And that's why the intention of this space here is to create space for people like that to come together. That if we wake up every morning and we want to just better ourselves first, and then better the world around us, and we have a lot of people with the same vision and the same mindset and taking actions with the same intention, the things do change. And, as much as people want to bash me, you, Ed, or many other people, we have accomplished a lot. I think we should really acknowledge the amount of work that we did for the last 4 years, and at the very minimum, and some of you guys, Ed especially, been doing this even longer than that. But in the last 4 years, we accomplished a lot. We gave them a major pushback. And yes, of course, they're going to be more aggressive, throwing me in jail, throwing you in jail. The only person who hasn't been in jail is Ed. Questionable why, but anyway. But
because it's just so handsome.
I know. You're muted.
Ed, microphone. You're still doing that nonsense. 2 years later. Come on, knock it off. Microphone. Ed.
If I can build it, I can break it. That's why.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
know
So yeah,
better.
so at the end of the day, you know what? Everything is happening for a reason. I just want people to be more optimistic for the new year. It's not going to be easy. In fact, it's going to be harder. But you can be a better person for it, and that's really perception and the mind shift that we need to acquire going into the new year, and just doing up till our absolute best for ourselves first, be a better,
Yep.
stronger human, be a stronger, better parent, be a stronger, better man or woman, and influencing the society the way you know it has to be done. And we just let the things unfold as they may. But I know God is great. There's a God's plan for all of us, and we need to have faith in ourselves and then in higher power. And in all the books, in all the stories, good always wins. God always wins. So we just have to go for the emotion of it. And I also think that at this point, we just have to be even more aggressive with our actions, because we're just prolonging the suffering. So if we can escalate, the push against this agenda on all the levels, and stop being politically correct, not that Kevin is politically correct. Maybe I'm
Is that
talking
better,
for
guys?
myself now.
All right.
Things will definitely shift more.
And that's at
Bubba wants to know
Coach
if you can come.
Vlad, CoachVlad.com, where Vladislav Slobolev is going to teach you how to be more masculine in Mexico.
Are dogs allowed?
Yes, dogs allowed, but smoking is not on premise, Ed. You have to smoke outside.
Okay, Bubba,
Yes.
you can come.
Yes.
All right. And
Okay.
I will also say I have to apologize to everybody on TikTok right now. I'm hoping that the microphone I just set up is better for you. The noise is an air conditioner there. I'm in Costa Rica. It's hot. And a fan there and a fan over there and an air conditioner around the corner. They're all running right now because I'm a big guy and I'm hot. That's it. So I'm hoping that this microphone I plugged in is going to help you out there.
All right, gentlemen. It's
Vlad,
good to
any
see
last-
you all. Thank you.
Any last statements there before you go?
Just stay free, stay blessed, and always just push forward. Walk through the storm. Don't try to hide from the storm or walk around, and go through it, because that's like the best way anyway. Just face your fears, face the challenges, do your optimum best, and just have a good intention in your heart, and everything will work itself out.
All right. Vlad, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. It really
Thank
is.
you, guys. Peace.
All right. Take care. We'll see you. Vladislav Slobolev, everybody. All right. The Hugs Over Masks creator, and Adrian is signaling to me. So remember, everyone, we're giving away cold, hard cash tonight. 50-50 draw. Just head over to KevinJJohnston.me. Grab yourself a ticket. They're just $10. Someone is going to take half the pot. We had someone won $170. The pot was $340 on Tuesday. Let's get the pot up there so that someone's going to take more cash. We're the only podcast out of Canada giving away cash. Think about that. You can also use email money transfers at the bottom of the screen. freedomreport.ca@gmail.com. Ed, get the dog out of here.
He's
Right.
got doobies again.
Fantastic. All righty. Well, everyone, I want to say welcome to all the fans of the April LaJune show right now. We know that you're all here to see April LaJune talk to us about the 14th Amendment. And the reason that's come up today is because we had a judge, actually we had 7 judges vote 4-3 to not allow Donald J. Trump to run on the Colorado ballot. So, April, I know you're waiting, so I'm just going to quickly cover the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution very quickly, and then you've got the floor. The 14th Amendment in context, remember, the 14th Amendment was passed following the Civil War. So it means that it was roughly the same time as the 13th Amendment. So the 14th Amendment was used by Republicans to bring Southern states, the Confederate states, into the Union. And in 1857, right before the outbreak of the Civil War, the Supreme Court, they thought they solved the problem about blacks. They said, blacks were not U.S. citizens no matter what. And of course, that contributed to the speeding up of the Civil War. So the 14th Amendment was put in place to correct that, kind of. It kind of did. So the wording was such that all people in the United States, except for Native Indians, were considered U.S. citizens. And that was clause number 1 of the 14th Amendment. Now, the third section of it, which I'm going to put on the screen right now, the third section of that amendment it was a punitive action against the former leaders of the Confederacy to stop them from holding public office, president, vice president, senators, whatever it might be, unless they got a 2/3 vote from Congress to allow them to actually hold that public office. So the 14th Amendment, Section 4, the validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt obligated incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss of emancipation of any slave, but all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be legal and void. So, April, it seems to me, April LaJune, everybody, our dear American friend here, it would appear that this whole thing was structured to save a bit of cash and save a little bit of embarrassment in Washington, D.C. by just disallowing anybody from the Confederacy to run. Do I have that right or wrong? Go ahead.
I don't think it has anything to do with money necessarily. I think they're trying everything that they can. And I have to say, this is like one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life. Okay. Most of the time they do stuff about money, but this is more about power. And I don't know if they're thinking that if they get enough propaganda on this thing, that somehow miraculously the Supreme Court is going to rule in their favor or something. I don't know. But this is like one of the dumbest things. And here's why. Because there's no way that the Supreme Court is going to let that stick. I mean, I have stuff here that here's a New York Times article. I don't know. Can I share my screen or not?
Yes, you can. Yes,
okay,
you can.
I wasn't sure. Here's a New York Times article that says Trump acquitted of inciting insurrection, even as bipartisan majority votes guilty. Okay, he was acquitted of insurrection. He hasn't even been charged. Look at all these people with yikes. Okay, he hasn't even been charged with insurrection. So it's not going to stick. Not only is it not going to stick, there is no way that a Supreme Court is supposed to be making a judgment call before there's even been a trial and an appeal. And these guys, this whole thing's on hold now. I don't know if you know that or not. It's all on hold till January 4th.
Yes. I was aware of the fact that it was stayed until January 3rd, but that's still it kind of runs the risk of possibly having him removed from the national ballot regardless. And that's a terrifying thought. Now, a couple of senators in Texas has suggested that we do the same thing to Biden in Texas. You know, that is how ridiculous this whole thing has become. And for my American friends.
Yeah, but here's the problem.
I just want, April.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well,
okay.
I was just going to say,
for my American friends, I'm running for office in Canada. Now, this is it. This is me, my hometown. That's the unique buildings we have downtown called the Marilyn Monroe Towers. I am running to become mayor. I had to leave Canada to be able to do so because they were going to arrest me if I ran for office ever again. That was a threat that was made. April, I got a phone call yesterday from the police telling me not to run or they would put a warrant out for my arrest. Correct. Yes. The cops are calling me to tell me not to run. So it's horrible in Canada. It's horrible in the United States. I just want you to know how deep this whole political destruction is going on. This whole election interference thing. It's happening all over North America. April, please go ahead.
Well, okay. See, they're trying to say that President Trump did all of this while he was president. Okay. And they're saying that Biden, which I don't call him president because he's really not, hasn't done any crimes since he's been in that chair. And technically, that may be correct as far as like doing deals with Hunter Biden, money laundering through Hunter Biden. Maybe they would have to actually trace those crimes between 2021, when he was sitting in the chair, till now. Okay. Then, yeah, I could see where they would say, okay, he's committing crimes right now. And I know that's not what you want to hear, but I have a feeling that he has been doing that, and they do have the documentation. For some reason, they're not using that. They're not specifying this right now. And I don't know why they're not. They're not specifying, like, okay, between the time that he raised his hand on a bogus book to pretend as if he was our president when he's not, between that time and this time right now, he has done this many transactions through Hunter Biden and money laundered this much money and had business deals with blah, 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 blah. Okay. All that other stuff that they're talking about right now was when he was vice president. Okay. So that's how they're trying to make this distinguishing difference, which personally, that means to me, you can still prosecute him as a regular guy. You know what I mean? He doesn't have immunity from the offices that he was in before, because he's not in those offices now, and he shouldn't have had immunity anyway. So they're trying to get him on past crimes. But his main crime that he's got going right now, right, is treason against the American people, which are the actual government. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, keep going. It does.
Okay, because the government that pretends and masquerades as the government is not the actual government. It is a huge monster global organized crime syndicate, similar to a group of cartels that is appearing as if it is a government. So it's not an actual government. The people have always been the government. And so he is actively working against the people of the United States, which that is treason. That is not what Donald Trump has done ever.
No, Trump has not done anything like that. In fact, there's a video I made 2 years ago that a judge in Canada here didn't like very much. It was 250 things Trump did right for the USA. Yeah, I couldn't find anything that was negative. I always had to laugh at the fact that he drove the left wing crazy, but the more that he drove them nuts, the more free advertising that he got. The guy's an incredible marketeer. He really is. But no, the January 6th insurrection, let me just go right out and make an accusation now. I'm not going to say allegedly. I'm just going to accuse Kamala Harris, because Biden doesn't plan anything except maybe put his adult diapers on. Kamala Harris is the one that set that up. The Democrats set that up. There was no insurrection. We all saw the footage of the cops letting everybody in, shaking their hands, pointing to the door. We know the whole thing was a set up. And I think America is finally catching on to that. Thank God.
Yeah. Well, as I just showed you, the propaganda, I mean, I don't think that these people are as dumb as they appear to be. Okay. So there's got to be a strategic reason that Colorado is being used to pretend as if this is going to stick, because it's just not going to. And I don't know what the purpose, what the outcome could possibly be that would benefit them in any way except stalling the inevitable. Because it's not going to gain him power. It's not going to gain the money. In fact, it made Donald Trump's numbers go up. So it really doesn't make any sense.
Okay. But his numbers are huge. Trump's numbers are massive all over the place. And every single thing that they're doing right now seems to drive them further up. It's I don't think that they have thought this through. I think this is the Hail Mary pass. This is them in full panic mode. The Democrats know that they don't have a shot at this whole thing. I think that they know that they're hated. You've now got left-wing universities, whereas 2 years ago, it was the conservative universities. During football games, it was F Joe Biden, do. Well, now it's even the liberals doing that. You've got the far left liberal blacks now in Illinois and Chicago. They hate Biden. They're all voting Trump now. God, even the black community in Tampa, like west of Ybor City, they're all going for Trump. So Trump he's grabbing everybody at this particular point.
Exactly. I mean, I just saw a news report from Newsmax, and I'm not a fan of Newsmax, by the way. But Newsmax just showed a report in the bluest borough of New York City. They went there and they asked them about Biden. They just said, do you think Biden's doing a good job? And they said, no, he's not. And they said, well, the Biden administration is saying that the prices are coming down and the economy is getting better. And they said, that's a lie. They literally, the bluest area, 80 some odd percent, I think it's like 83% in New York City, in this borough, which is Hispanic and black. That's their main thing, is Hispanic and black, are saying, no, it's not better. He hasn't done anything. And they said, well, who are you going to vote for? And they said, if Trump's on the ballot, we're voting for him. There's no shot for them whatsoever, and they know it. This is like, I remember, I'm pretty sure it was Reagan who had a landslide, and this is more than that by far.
Oh, if we could also get rid of those Canadian manufactured Dominion machines, manufactured in Toronto, if we can get rid of those damn things, everything is going to be just fine. Those machines are a con. They are a scam. When I ran for mayor in the city of Calgary, I won a motion in the courts to have them removed and to have everything done by counted paper ballots. I won my motion. Guess what happened? They used them anyway.
Yeah, that's what they do.
That's just how it works.
Well, yes. The interesting thing about Colorado compared to all the other states is Colorado has completely mail-in ballots. Okay. They don't do any. Yeah. If you want to, you can go to the county, the courthouse and put your ballot in the secure location if you want to, but it's all mail-in ballots all the time. And here's what I'm finding that's very, very interesting. Okay. Now, this is going to seem like it's going off on a tangent, but it's really not. So listen to this. Okay. So a county in Missouri, Jackson County, just had a tax assessment that was totally illegal. All right. And we've been working for about a year now to get the state to do something about it. And look what they came up with. This is just, to me, totally amazing, because we couldn't figure out how to get these people on their public corruption. Well, there's a Missouri Merchandising Practices Act, and I'm just going to give you the short version. It has to do with consumer protection fraud. Okay. It's just consumer protection fraud, that somebody who is in the position to have a contract, which these politicians are, commits consumer fraud when they don't fulfill their oath of office. Okay. So that's how they're suing them. All right. Okay. Does this make sense? Because it's a contractual thing. Okay. So now they've done it by mailing out tax stuff, whether it's the assessment thing or whatever it is that you want to, whatever the notification was, that was fraudulent on its face. Therefore, they've committed not only the consumer fraud, but the mail fraud too. Okay. Which means that the people in Jackson County can go to the United States Postal Service Inspector General and file a complaint, which they can also copy and send to the United States Attorney General, which is Merrick Garland. So whatever. And then also their state attorney general and the entity that they're filing the complaint against. Okay. Now relate that to Colorado. They're total mail-in ballots, right? They have a fiduciary responsibility through their oath of office to do what's right and best for the people in Colorado, correct?
Yep.
And they're committing fraud by not putting a valid candidate on the ballot and denying them their rights to be able to vote for the candidate of their choice, right?
Okay.
Okay, so if they mail out those ballots, they are committing mail fraud.
Uh-oh.
That's one thing.
Okay.
And then some of these people that they mail them to aren't in Colorado. They're actually in Texas because they own a property in Colorado and they live there half and half the time. So they mail those ballots to Texas. What does that create? A federal issue, meaning the Federal Trade Commission, which has the Consumer Protection Act, can also be involved and sue them as well in the state of Colorado for every single one of those ballots that are sent out to each individual. So can you imagine how many counts that would be?
Well,
the numbers are astronomical.
500,000 probably.
And whatever it is, it's a lot. So I'm thinking, okay, so you guys are really willing to commit mail fraud. You think that we're just going to go after you and sue you for breaking your oath of office and your fiduciary responsibility, which actually doesn't even seem to matter because nobody wants to take that case. Right. But when it comes to the mail and the inspector general and consumer protection and breach of contract, oh boy, they take that a lot more seriously. And guess who you don't need when you're using the inspector general? You do not need a court. You do not need any court.
You don't need a court for that.
Nope. It is tried in the postal court, which is under the Universal Postal Union, which is an international court.
I've never heard of the postal court in the United States.
Yeah, it's under the Universal Postal Union. And the Universal Postal Union, go look it up. The Universal Postal Union is in charge of all this, and you can make a complaint to them as well. And they will file a complaint. I have a guy that I know that lives in California that is having the same issue with his homeowners association, basically breach of contract, not holding up their oath of office. He filed a suit. He filed a complaint with the Universal Postal Union, and they are going after the HOA.
Okay.
No court involved. No court. You don't need one.
But who? Okay, so the post office, if they have their own court, who are the judges in that court?
It's in the Universal Postal Union.
So the Universal
Postal
Union.
It's an international thing. Yes, it's an international thing. They have their own court. They have their own director. They have all their own stuff. That it has nothing to do with the court system, like what you think.
So that lends credence to the theory you and I cooked up 6 years ago that every courthouse in the world is just a business, and that we could open our own courts at our leisure as long as we had enough guns to enforce our decisions.
That's right. The enforcement is the problem, and people go to jail all the time for mail fraud.
Wow. I wouldn't pull any kind of fraud in the United States. America, this is something unique about the United States of America. Anything to do with money is akin to murder in the USA. Fraud will get you 20 years in the United States. Fraud will get you 3 months in Canada. Think about that.
What I want to know is how come there's no one's getting prosecuted for female fraud?
Because we're perfect. Can't help it.
By the way, I've got a number of people in email and on TikTok right now asking if we could do some call-ins tonight. Looks like some people have questions. Are you up to some questions tonight, April? because I wouldn't bring anybody in unless you are up to questions and ready to go.
Of course.
All right. So
Always
if anybody wants to come in, go to the email address at the bottom, freedomreport.ca@gmail.com. Give me your name, phone number, and I'll send you over the link to come in. Yeah, no profanity, please. We have a lot of kids, a lot of families watch this show. We really would appreciate you leaving everything within the realm of good taste. And before we do that, everyone, 50-50 draw, Kevin J. Johnston. The Kevin J. Johnston Show is the only one giving away cash, because in Canada, legally, we can't give away anything. We can't have fun. We can't protect our homes, and we can't give away cash. But I'm in Costa Rica now, so I can give away cash. Head over to kevinjjohnston.me. Buy your tickets for just $10. That's right. They're just $10. And you're going to get paid. That's right. Half the take is yours. You get paid tonight as soon as the show is over. If you don't want to do it on the website with a credit card, email money transfers to freedomreport.ca@gmail.com. We certainly do appreciate that. All right.
So, April,
Ed?
sorry, Kevin, I just want to talk about Chris Sky. We had him on the show the other night. He's got whistleblowers that came through, and the Toronto election was rigged. He can't even get a day in court, last we heard.
Well, I don't know how it is in Canada, okay? But I know how it is here. We have a woman here who found out that the machines are supposed to be certified, okay? Certified, ready to go. Not tested, but actually certified. I would imagine that in Canada, they have the same thing. Now, I don't know if Chris can get a FOIA request or whatever you guys call it there. Do you call it FOIA request?
Yeah, we do. Something like that.
Just checking. And do a FOIA request on who certifies those machines, how they were certified, and who certified, make sure that the certifiers are certified to be able to do it. That's how she's getting her case through court. That's how she's getting standing.
Okay, so people keep talking about standing in court. Can you explain what that concept is?
Well, you're supposed to have a stake in the outcome. Okay, that's your standing. If you have a stake in the outcome of what happened, whatever it is, and a vested interest in what happened, you're supposed to have standing. Now, in that definition, that means that everybody has standing when it comes to an election. But they're saying that the only person who would have standing is the person who's running, which is total BS. So they're just manipulating the actual definition of who has standing and who doesn't.
Right.
Okay. Just to make sure that they are able to manipulate and control who can actually sue.
I find that interesting because I was trying to deliver a message to a judge on someone's behalf. And the reason why is they were unable to attend court that day. Mm-hmm. And the lawyer who was acting as the crown said, I have no standing, and he doesn't want to hear what I have to say.
Well, they would have to appoint you a limited power of attorney on their behalf, and it would be a power of attorney in fact, because a power of attorney in fact gives someone other than a lawyer the permission, I guess you might want to call it, to present or represent a person in a matter.
Now, that being said, the judge says, regardless, I want to hear what this man has to say.
You?
No, it happened to me. I was delivering the message, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But the judge was saying that he wanted to hear what you had to say?
Yep.
Well, they can.
So, and the lawyer was quite upset about it, too. Quite upset.
I'm sure he was.
Anyways, back to this mail. So the jurisdiction of the whole process of the United States Postal Service, what jurisdiction would that fall under?
The mail? What do you mean?
Well, you say it's an international
things that go through the mail.
Okay, hold on. Wait a second, Ed. I think what you're trying to get at here is how do they have that authority? How does the Postal Service have that kind of authority? It would be the same idea, I think, maybe April, maybe I'm right or wrong, is that like the New York Port Authority, they were created before the Constitution was written, and that they pretty much did what they want. They operated outside the Constitution. That's why they were able to build the World Trade Center with no columns within it, with all the support on the outside walls, because they did not have to follow any of the modern laws. Now, I think that the USPS was created before the Constitution was written. Is that true or not? Because there has to be a reason why they've got that power.
Well, there's the United States Postal Service, and then there's the United States Post Office. Those are two different things. One is statutory, and one is common law.
Which one's which?
Well, the United States Postal Service is the one, I'm pretty sure, that is statutory, because that has the Inspector General. So it's statutory. Yeah, right. There's federal laws. In fact, I have it right here. It's let me see this. Let me put that right there.
Yeah, it's interesting how the law works, Kevin, eh?
Mm-hmm. So there's this one. Whoever, for the purpose of conducting, promoting, or carrying on by means of the Postal Service, any scheme or device mentioned in section 1341 of this title, or any unlawful business, uses or assumes or requests to be addressed by any fictitious, false, or assumed title, name or address, or name other than his own or improper. This is fictitious mail, okay? Or takes or receives from any post office or authorized depository mail matter, any letter, postal card, package, or other mail matter addressed to any fictitious. See, this is getting into another legal thing, which I don't want to go into right now. False or assumed title. There's a whole thing on mortgages and mail that is going into mail fraud as well. So these guys know mail fraud, and they use mail fraud all the time. The way that they address things to people is already fraud itself, besides the fact that they're mailing fraudulent stuff. Because technically, for example, people are not taxpayers. I know it seems weird, but they're not taxpayers. They're not under no obligation to pay tax. The IRS code says, and the statutes say, it's all voluntary. So when they do these demands, it's already a problem to begin with. Okay. Any kind of fraud that goes through the Postal Service, which is where you got to take it to go. If it has anything on it that's a lie, it's for fraud.
Okay.
I know it's like super complicated. They did this on purpose to confuse people.
Well, yeah, because I'm a little confused myself, and I usually catch on pretty fast. There's a lot of everything within everything within everything, and so on. We have Steve has a question here. Steve, welcome to the show. That's not your face, Steve, I'm sure, but welcome to the show. What's your question?
It's John Cena, dressed as Mao Zedong.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think, Kevin? Pretty funny, eh?
Oh, amazing. Well done. Great avatar. Yes. So what did you want to know?
Thanks. Just curious. Do you think there's space in the political sphere for pro-white politics?
Wait a minute.
Well, I'll take that one first.
You say pro-white
politics. Okay, hold on.
Yes.
I'm going to address that one first, if you don't mind. And then April, you've got it. Okay. It's a good question. In Canada, we have section 319, subsections 1, 2, and 3 of the criminal code that says if you essentially offend anybody, that you will go to prison for 2 years. Now, if you were to come out with a pro-white party or Whites Are Us or Snow Blizzard Party, white skin, pink skin, pale face, whatever it might be, you pick one. If you came up with that, they would immediately charge you in Canada with section 319. They call you, they'd accuse you of hate speech. They would certainly arrest you for hate crime of some type. and then put you through the ropes like they've done to me now. They charged me with that garbage in 2017 because Bonnie Crombie, the current mayor of Mississauga, didn't want to run against me, my hometown here. And it's still in the courts today. So that's what would happen in Canada. April, what would happen in the United States?
Well, first of all, to get you have to try to party on the ballot. And I don't think that would fly in the first place because there would be so few members, you couldn't even get any traction on it. I just don't think it's even going to happen. But let's just say that it did. Anybody can create a party of whatever. It has to meet the criteria. And I mean, is there room? Of course, there's always room for dumb people if they want to run. I mean, that is like that would be a stupid thing to run on, I think.
But we're not talking specifically about a party. We're not talking about like a specific party. I'm just saying, like in terms of rhetoric, like from our public officials, or like you have Jewish advocacy groups, you have Black advocacy groups, Latino, you name it, right? But I'm just saying, like, why is it that when it comes down to white people, we're not allowed advocates, and we're pretty much invisible on the public stage?
That might be in Canada, but I don't think it's that way here in the United States. I think white people here are starting to say, you know what, I'm white, can't change my color, and that's just the way it's going to be. So you're going to have to accept it, and if you don't like it, I guess, go cry for the Kleenex.
Well, I mean, like, could you at least name me like a pro-white lobbyist group? Like if it's popular in the States, or if there's at least like an appetite for it, could you at least name me one?
Well, we don't have an appetite for it. I don't think we have an appetite for that. I think we just go, you know what? There's no reason for it.
Why is that?
Because nobody should be looking at skin color. And I think that the majority of the people in the United States, minus the politicians, aren't looking at that.
Well, I'm just saying, like when you look at the rhetoric of our intellectuals, of our entertainer class, like the celebrities and all that, I mean, you see a lot of anti-white rhetoric. I'm just saying, like, if this rhetoric continues, and the more that our majority declines, where do you think this is going to go? Where do you think this is going to like leave white people at?
Are you talking about in the States or in Canada?
Both. Hell, even Europe.
You're going to have
to hold on. Wait a second. Wait, yeah. I have to field that question right now there, Steve, if you don't mind. We have some right-wing governments forming now in Europe. So we had Giorgia Meloni, who's the prime minister of Italy. She said she's fed up. She's done. Sorry,
but we're still bringing in boatloads of migrants. Like Giorgia Meloni is anything but a populist in terms of her actual policy.
Right, but she did make a public announcement that she's going to be throwing immigrants out, and also made a public announcement that they're going to be banning the shouting of Allahu Akbar anywhere in the country. They're going to call it hate speech and whatnot. So that's a start. I mean, if Geert Wilders, if he takes the Netherlands, you know what he'll do. It'd be mass deportations on a mass scale like we've never seen before. We just don't have enough people like them to come out and say these things. And you guys, you know what happened to me. I said these things in Canada, and I went to Supermax prison for it. So we have an issue here where, Steve, it's white people who are locking up white people in the Western world for making these statements. It's white police arresting white people who have anti-racism statements to make, especially if it's against whites. So we have white politicians, white cops arresting and destroying white people in general who are just fed up with all the anti-white rhetoric out there. We have to make some very serious changes in what we do.
I totally disagree with what you just said. We have white communists arresting white nationalists. There's a huge.
That's a fair statement.
Huge.
It's a fair statement.
I don't really think in the United States it's a matter of race as much as you think it is. And I think that you're talking about such a small percentage of the country, and nobody really pays any attention down here. nobody pays that much attention to these people anymore. It's like you're a clown show.
I mean, like anytime you hear a Democrat speak, it's always about white supremacy this, white supremacy that. I would say that if anything, the whole idea of race is on a lot of people's minds in America.
Nope, it's not, because they've made it such a clown show now. We are just like, you know what? Shut up.
Well,
That's where we're at now.
Well, I'm just saying, like, don't you think it's kind of a like a bad game plan if every group, every advocacy group, like whether that be Black Lives Matter.
Oh, Steve, your volume dropped. Steve, your volume dropped. Go ahead. You.
Oh, can you hear me? Hi.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, when it comes down to white people, suddenly we're all individuals. But when it comes down to any other interest group, oh, they get to be part of a team. I'm just saying, like, if this is a game of soccer, like, I mean, being an individual and not working as a team, that's a really bad game plan, don't you think?
Oh, I do think so, immensely, which is why I've been testing the waters. Now that I'm not bound by Canadian hate speech laws, I'm in Costa Rica. The Costa Ricans don't care about what I say. So you saw that I put this out a little while ago. KevinJJohnston wants 100 white children. I have unvaxxed sperm here. Sign up to be a mom today. And I've had some women send me photographs of themselves saying that they would like to participate in this. And the left wing went absolutely ballistic, calling me racist because as a white man, I want to have more white kids. How dare I suggest having white babies? Oh my God, what a crime I've committed there. So the big thing is the left wing and the crazies are still very much in charge of way too many government agencies in Canada, the United States, and Europe. That's why we're having such backlash against white people by white people, or white communists, as Ed had to say. How do we change the mindset of our entire society? That's the question there. April, if you have that answer, you're smarter than me, because I don't have that answer.
I just don't think that I think the only thing that's going on right now in the United States of America mostly is back and forth stupidity between the news people, the heads, the talking puppets,
Yep.
and the other side, which is the Democrat talking puppets, and they're talking back and forth, and everybody here is calling it clown world. And it doesn't matter what side you're on. It really doesn't matter at this point what color you are at the moment, because they've been doing it for so long. There's such a tiny little portion of society that even believes them or even engages with them. The only thing that I can see that's happening, whether you go to Twitter or Facebook or whatever, is the pile on of, you're an idiot. This is clown world. Grow a brain. Don't you understand what they're trying to do to you? And I think a lot of Black people and Hispanics and whatever else is out there, because there's tons of different ethnic groups, are starting to wake up to know that really they're not for anyone except themselves. They're figuring that out. So I don't think that we even need any kind of person going out there and specifically targeting, like their campaign. Their whole campaign is like, I'm white and proud of it or whatever. I don't think we need anything like that.
Well, I'm trying in my mind here to piece together what the campaign slogan would be if it's a pure white party saying white makes right, white's the best, white raw, like, I don't know, whites are what, the best looking.
I wouldn't even say anything like that. I'm just talking about like an advocacy group for white people. I'm not talking about anything about saying we're the best or anything like that. Like, that's absurd and ridiculous. I'm just saying, like, why not have a white advocacy group?
I don't think it's necessary.
I like the idea of having a white advocacy group, mainly because everybody else has one. You've got Black Entertainment Television, Black Music Awards. You've got in Canada, you have Miss Vietnam, Miss Asia. You've got Miss South Asia, but you can't have Miss White. I actually tried to have a Miss White pageant, and not like what we called about 400 plus hotels and banquet halls, and nobody would let me do it. And then we got a phone call from the police asking why we wanted to have a Miss White contest. And I held the phone away saying, is this for real? This has got to be a joke. But no, sure enough, Toronto police contacted me suggesting that we stop looking for a venue for a Miss White Canada pageant. And that's a problem. So, Steve, I agree with you there. White advocacy could be something as simple as a Miss White Canada pageant. Good luck finding a venue to do so, and good luck escaping the Section 319 laws that we have about hate speech, because anything pro-white is considered hate speech in Canada. That's why people are leaving. 60,000 white people have left Canada in the last year and a bit. So, and there's more leaving now. And I've met over 100 white Canadians here in Costa Rica already, and they all say the same thing. They're tired of the anti-white racism. So,
well, I mean, like,
yes.
well, okay. Think about it like this, right? Like, if there is like an explicit like hate crime against a white person, it is never framed as such in the media. Look at the Nashville shooter, for example. You know, gunned down innocent white children at a Christian school. In like Stephen Crowder released bits of the manifesto, and in the manifesto, this woman she wrote about how she targeted these kids because they are white, straight, and heterosexual. But you tell me why they didn't deem this as a hate crime, right? Like, isn't that an issue? That we can't even be seen as victims as white people?
No,
that is
it's
an
not,
issue.
That's
Yes.
not the issue. No, that's not the issue. The issue is the court. And people know that. They recognize it. They recognize that the court is the problem. It's not the people that are problem.
Daryl Brooks, when he this was a couple of years back, when he ran down all those white grandmothers and children at a Christmas parade. That wasn't seen as a hate crime either. You know, this was done by a black nationalist. He ran down all those people's kids' bodies scraping against the concrete, and it's just seen as just like a natural disaster, as if like a tornado tore through that little town.
But that's only propaganda. That's not what the actual people think. You're asking.
Well, I'm just I'm just saying, like, if we can't even be seen as victims, if we can't even if we can't even seen as like victims of a crime, if white people are killed, that's just treated as like a natural disaster. Oh, there's no real motive to it, right? I think right there that kind of deserves a need for a advocacy group.
Well, see, that statement I agree with, because I do get what you're saying. If there's any violence against white kids on school buses by black students, which we're seeing all the time now, the media won't cover it. If it wasn't for someone filming it on the bus, we wouldn't even know about it. I get that. Black on white crime right now is actually at its highest ever in the United States history, and the media is not reporting on that. So yes, I do get it, Steve. A white advocacy group would be a good thing. But I guess, Steve, it's your idea. You should.
You guys are asking a question and assuming that people in the United States mostly get their news from the talking puppets that are on the TV, and we don't. We used to, but now nobody trusts them anymore. Okay, so they don't trust that anymore. That's one thing. And secondly, I mean, to me, and I've said this on my show many times, the parents of those kids, the white parents, have a problem that they're not addressing. And that is, now this is my personal opinion and it has nothing to do with Kevin. Okay. Because I don't even know what Kevin thinks. I don't think that people should be sending their children to indoctrination camps day after day after day to have them put in danger and indoctrinated to a left-wing, dangerous agenda that really doesn't do society any good whatsoever. We have had a country and a world that has not had public school for thousands of years. And all of a sudden, we've indoctrinated people to think you must have your child in public school and you must educate them between this time and this time. Otherwise, you're a bad parent. Well, that's ridiculous.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you're a straight white guy, you got nothing special going for you. I mean, the only way to get any prestige or accolades is if you become transgender or gay. You know, like that's the only way you'll get any recognition. So I mean, the fact that the very fact that we can't even be taken seriously unless we're gay or transgender, I think that's more evidence that we need an advocacy group for our own race.
Then that is your own
you're
problem.
right. Okay, first off, April, I'm going to say this, Steve, you're right, but it's your idea, so you have to start it. Now, I certainly would put you on the show as the leader of a white advocacy group because I feel it's required. I'm just not going to say that we need it and it's someone else's job. Someone else will take it up. No, you got to do it. It's the same idea as me starting up this show, which I did to advocate for the fact that males were not working and not allowed to work up to about 2017. That's the only reason I started this show in the first place. I went 16 years being told that as a white man, I'm sorry, we're not hiring right now. So I started podcasting. That was my way of dealing with it. If there is something that's bothering people, you got to take the reins. Just grab the bull by the horns and do it. And then contact me, tell me when it's ready, and I'll put you on the show. And we'll talk about it, because if it's going to be one of those white people shows, the left wing will go crazy and the numbers will be higher than ever before. So
you know what I want to know, guys, and if you could address this, why is it that all the shooters or the school shooters were all on some kind of psychotic drugs or off their psychotic meds? How come that's never talked about?
Well, I mean, mental health is it's more treated as a business nowadays rather than actually rather than it to be treated. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I don't know. You just can't medicate your way out of poverty with a lot of things either. And the fact that that's how they treat a lot of these issues is just disgusting. I don't know. It's like.
I feel
it's funny. It's funny because it's like whenever there's a mass shooting, it's we got to ban guns, we got to do this, we got to do that, but it's like nobody asks questions of why we have all these fucking psychopaths. Sorry for swearing. I'm sorry. Why we have all these psychopaths just running around?
Why?
Well, we have them running around because we have let the left wing run the media. The news, the courts, the police, the education systems. The left wing runs everything in North America. That's why. So the idea now is to form the advocacy groups that you're talking about and make sure you're getting conservatives involved in their own country. And conservatives have mostly not been very interested in North America, or at least doing their part. Now that's on the right wing people for not doing anything. But Steve, I would suggest you start somewhere.
Well, that's the thing. When the conservatives say that we have to just shoo away identity politics, we can't embrace it. That's a losing strategy. While the left is doing the complete opposite. Like we refuse to collectivize in any meaningful way because we all have to be individuals. Identity politics is a forbidden no-no in conservative circles. And you know what? It's like playing soccer, and right before the game you break your own legs, and you're like, oh yes, this is how we're going to win. No, we need identity politics if we're going to win in the future, especially when numbers are coming against us. And like as each year goes by, the white population is always on the decline every year. We aren't having kids. Economically, it doesn't make sense for us to have kids. We can't afford a home.
That has to do with parenting.
Well, you can in select areas.
Well,
okay, hold on.
That has to do with parenting.
April, your microphone dropped out.
Hey, sorry, can you hear me?
No, April.
April, your microphone dropped out.
I know. What I'm saying is all of that stuff that he said has to do with parenting, and the parents are not taking responsibility for the children, and they're not taking responsibility for raising their children, because the reason that people are not having children today, and you can use the cop-out excuse if you want to about you can't have kids because you can't afford a house, you can't afford this, can't afford that, whatever. It depends on what kind of house you're talking about. And it also depends on what kind of car you're talking about and where you plan on living, because there are places in the United States of America that are very, 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 very affordable, even on
Mobile,
minimum wage.
Alabama.
If both parents have to work, Now, I was taught when I was young to work within the means of my husband. And if that means you got to have a smaller house, you got to have a smaller house. I can tell you my daughter-in-law, that she doesn't work at all. She hasn't worked this whole entire time because she's raising her child. And I wouldn't say that my son has the top job where he's making hundreds of thousands of dollars, a year. I think he's probably, if he's bringing in 50, I would be shocked. Okay. A year.
But it's not, but it's not a cop out to say that like this is why people aren't having kids. I mean,
I
like
think
when
it
I
is
like,
a cop out because they're listening to propaganda. They have bad parenting to begin with. And I'm telling you right now, if the white population continues to listen to that propaganda and the parents don't do anything about it and keep them in the indoctrination camp, that's what's going to happen. And right now in the United States of America, white people are still a majority. That's true. But you got to remember, it's not just the white people that aren't having children. The blacks are not having children either. They're treating abortion as if it is birth control. So
Yes.
all populations are going down. The biggest ones that are having the most children are Hispanics. And so, what do you expect to happen? If the parents are not teaching their children correctly, that is what's going to happen. The parents are the responsible people. And I think that the Christians have not stood up when they should have. And they keep saying, well, we got to turn the other cheek. It's a whole infiltration by liberal policies trying to make everybody feel good. And guess what? Not everybody is going to feel good because the truth hurts.
well, like when I was renting an apartment last year, right? It was $12.25 when I first moved in. Year after, they increased the rent to $14.50, right? Next, as I'm moving out because rents just increased, new people that are coming in for a small 2-bedroom apartment, they're paying $15.75 a month. All right, so like for a small 2-bedroom apartment, you shouldn't be paying this much in rent, and so if rent is this high, if like to buy a house, like houses can be anywhere from like $500,000 to even more in Canada, like it's just out of control. You need living space if you want to have kids. Like raising a family in an apartment is not the most ideal situation, especially when so much of your income is going towards rent, because
okay, Steve, hold on. As April was saying, and we're going to end this particular segment now. But as April was saying, there are affordable places. Now, if you remember the show that we had with Mike Martins, Mike in the Night, he talked about, we actually went through the fact that there were over 300,000 homes for sale in the United States of America selling for less than $160,000. That is affordable compared to anything anywhere in Canada. So you just have to make a choice. And it's like Baltimore, I would avoid, but Mobile, Alabama, or Enterprise, Alabama, I wouldn't avoid, or somewhere in the middle of Tennessee, I would not avoid. California, I would. So there are always going to be those options. You're going to have to go where either A, the high paying jobs are, or B, the affordable homes are. You got to make that choice. But I wouldn't make the choice to not have kids. In fact, I'm serious about it. Any ladies out there, I'm dead serious about having more kids. Unvaxxed sperm here. Kevin J. Johnson wants 100 more white children. Sign up and be a mother with me. Okay? I'm serious about it, and I will find a way to fund that no matter what. So, Steve, thanks for being here, man. We certainly do appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey,
thanks, Kevin.
Anytime, man. Thanks. We do appreciate it. Take care. All right, we got to do the 50-50 draw again here. Reminding everyone that the Kevin J. Johnson Show is giving away cash. That's right. There's our 50-50 draw poster. Get on over to KevinJJohnston.me. That's KevinJJohnston.me and grab your 50-50 tickets. They're $10. Buy as many as you like. And the winner gets half the pot sent to them right after the show. If you don't want to use your credit card on KevinJJohnston.me, that's fine. You can do email money transfers at the bottom there. freedomreport.ca@gmail.com. Tuesday, some lucky gal won $170. Let's get tickets bought. Let's get some cash into your hands. All right. April, go ahead.
Well, getting back to Donald Trump.
Yes.
I do believe that he's going to win the Supreme Court. I think that he's going to be on the ballot in every state, even though the left is trying not to have him on the ballot. I think that now, the Colorado GOP said that they were going to have a caucus if this actually sticks, right?
Okay. Now, what would happen in a caucus? Go ahead.
Okay, in a caucus, now I used to live in Colorado, so I know exactly how it works. What they do is they have little precincts all over every county. Okay, so I don't even know how many precincts there are, but there's a lot. Okay, so each county is divided into little precincts, which is kind of like neighborhoods. Then what happens is the people who are conservative in that neighborhood, they go to that precinct and they sign in, they vote for whoever they want to represent them and carry their vote to the next level. So, for example, people will say, like, if I was going to advocate for Donald Trump, I would say, okay, I want to be the representative for Donald Trump, and I will carry the votes for Donald Trump to the next level. And so they would have to vote for me and say that, yes, we want her to represent us to Donald Trump. So if 10 people show up and 4 of them want Donald Trump, then I will carry 4 votes to the next level. And, maybe there's, can't even imagine it, but let's just say there's a vote for Nikki Haley, and then the rest of them go to Vivek. Okay. That, you take those to the next level. Okay. So then at the next level, you stand up and you say, okay, I've got 4 votes for Donald Trump. The next person says, I got 1 for Nikki Haley. I got however many for Vivek, whatever. And they take and they carry those votes to the next level and to the next level and to the next level. So actually, in reality, the Donald Trump would be the winner of the primary in Colorado through a caucus and be on the ballot, whether they like it or not. That's what's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, because they'll say that's our candidate. We're putting him up there. And then that person would represent them to the national.
Has there been any news about Donald?
Hold on, Ed. You're telling us that no matter what Colorado's doing, Trump's on the ballot. Is that essentially what you're telling us?
Yep, he's going to be on the ballot.
Well, that's amazing news. Ed, go ahead.
Has Donald Trump chosen a running mate yet?
No, but I'll tell you what, I would advocate for. There's only 2 that I would advocate for, and that is Carrie Lake first or Tucker Carlson. Those are the only 2. I don't think anybody else would be a good choice.
I think Vivek would be an awesome choice.
I don't want him there. I want him to be the press secretary. I think that would be awesome. Can you imagine the daily SmackDown?
Yeah, I can, and I would love every minute of it.
Yeah,
no, I agree with you on that. I definitely agree with you on that.
So
why would we not make Tucker Carlson? Let's get him in there as VP. That would be the best move.
Well, here's my problem with Tucker Carlson. Okay, Tucker Carlson has been in Washington D.C. for years and years and years. Okay, so there is no way that he could not have known, unless he's really dumb and naive, which he could be, kind of living in a bubble, because he was a rich kid, didn't really have to do anything. You know how it is in news. They bring you the stuff and you look it over and you don't really check stuff out when you're the anchor. So it's possible he lived in a bubble, but I just don't see how you can be in Washington, D.C. and be that naive and not know what's going on, and not to make, how could you go out there every night and say what they want you to say for all those years until you get a show on Fox where you're the number 1 guy, and now all of a sudden you're saying everything you want to say. You know what I mean? That's my problem with him. Carrie Lake is not like that. Carrie Lake, she knew that there were problems. She understood that, hey, I'm being thwarted here and I don't know what to do about my career here because this is getting ridiculous. And then she decided, I'm just going to run for office because these guys are lying and I'm sick of it. She literally said that.
Now, did she win her election or did she lose it because of mail-in ballots?
She lost it because of the cheating, because the one who's sitting in the seat right now of governor was overseeing the actual election. So sort of mail-in ballots, but the manipulation of the entire system was totally rigged from the very beginning, all the way.
So it's conflict of interest means nothing in the United States of America.
Well, I guess that depends on if you're a Democrat or not.
That's the problem.
Well, you call them Democrats. I'm going to call them commies.
They are communists, but I call them more a cartel. I don't see them as a political party necessarily. I see them as criminals. Criminal organizations masquerading as political parties.
All right.
Commies.
Yeah.
That would be a political party.
I just want
well, if you look at how many people have died because of communism, how freedoms have been eliminated because of communism.
But they're just criminals. They're just plain old criminals.
Okay, so we'll call them criminal communists. Or communist criminals.
I think they're just a cartel. A cartel made up of thugs that if you don't do what you're told to do, they'll get rid of you. I don't see that as a political thing. I think it's just thuggery.
Well, first off, you're not wrong. It is. It's totally thuggery. And at this point, really, what do we do aside from show our support for Donald Trump? You know, because we don't have anybody else in North America that could compare to him in any particular way. And there's certainly, even if we had, let's say, Pierre Poilievre here in Canada, if he wins, he's no Trump. I'll tell you that right now, he's no Trump. And he'll cave into whatever pressure is brought towards him. And we're getting some comments over here in TikTok of people saying, let's get Trump in. Let's hope Trump takes out Trudeau. Now, that would be sweet. In fact, I would advocate fully for Donald Trump to become the president of the United States of America and then just to annex Canada. Start with the province of Alberta. Just annex it and start to hey, listen, I'm serious about that. Annex Alberta, drain the oil, like get the oil out of the ground and sell it, make some money, put people to work for the first time in a while.
It's all under the same crown anyway. Even the United States of America is under the crown. Now, you probably don't know that, but it's true.
How did that come about? Because they had what happened in 1776 and what happened in 1781?
That was by permission. That was by permission. Because they actually asked for permission.
Really?
I got it.
Yes.
So
they asked for permission to come over here. They asked for permission to colonize. They asked for permission to do all the things that they did. And they were really, it was kind of, even though it was a revolution to a sort, think of it as like a civil war that just has some water between it. Because we have the same exact system. The only difference between the United States and the rest of these commonwealths areas is the Constitution itself, and that the states have united under a constitution to say this is what we're going to use for our laws here. That's it.
Okay.
But how do they fall under the crown then?
Because we've never really separated from England. I know it goes back to everything that it goes back to loans. It goes back to banking, because the loans that were taken out for the war were granted by England. And it was where the United States was in debt to the Rothschild group and still are. It's a whole it's a whole historical thing that has to do with banking and loans.
So are you talking about City of London or London City?
There's two different things. I'm talking about that. Okay, London has a city inside of it.
Right.
Right. Okay. And that is sovereign to the surrounding city, because there's three cities that are inside of countries that are sovereign. And that's the City of London, Vatican City, and Washington, D.C. You know that, right?
Yeah, I can't think of any other
Yeah.
examples except for those three. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So what London is the financial portion of the Commonwealth, which has to do with us, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, the United Kingdom, all of it. Okay. All of the ones that are considered British, I guess you want to call it that, is the financial portion is in London. Okay. The spiritual portion is the Vatican. They run all the spiritual stuff. And the military portion is Washington, D.C. I thought you guys already knew this stuff.
Yeah, we know this, and I think most of the people watching know this also, but we need to be reminded every now and then, because there's so much going on, you lose focus.
Yeah.
And did you hear that the Pope is saying you can give blessings to people that are married in a gay union or something like that?
I know. Well, I didn't say what kind of spiritual side he was on. We already know it's satanic. I mean, that's obvious.
Yeah.
So all of this stuff is coming to a head. All of this stuff is coming to a head. People are starting to understand that it's all about banking and power, and that it's global. It's not sovereign like people think it is. It should be. And people are sovereign, and the soil is sovereign. And the only power that these things have is the power that the people give it. Because if the people don't give it any power, it doesn't have any. So if you don't recognize it as a power, it's not going to have any power. But this is the difference between good and evil. That's where we're at right now. The difference between good and evil. That's
Just
it.
say-
That's all there is.
Just say no.
Yeah,
Yes.
Just say no. Okay.
Just say no.
But you can, hold on, guys. You can just say yes to our 50-50 draw. We're going to draw the winner in about 4 minutes here. Tickets are just $10. Someone's going to take half the pot. We give away cash every Tuesday and every Thursday. Get on over to KevinJJohnston.me. Grab your tickets now. They're $10 each. Buy as many as you like. Or you can use email money transfers. Freedom. Take that banner down for a second, Adrian. It's freedomreport.ca@gmail.com. And we're going to get paid right at the end of the show. So, April.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely. We're going to draw that. We'll see in about 3 or 4 minutes. We'll draw that out. So I just wanted to really get to the bottom of the American populace right now have pretty much come together on the fact that Biden is useless and the Democrats have destroyed them. We see Californians, they have left en masse to go to Arizona, Texas, Alabama, and Florida, which has boosted those economies something fierce. And I think at this point, Americans have begun to realize they've been lied to. They were duped. So what will America do if Trump is completely removed from the ballot in even just one state?
I'm afraid that it's going to be civil war. I really do, because I don't see. They already know that the court isn't going to work. That's obvious, and I think that there is enough military people in the United States of America that are really, really angry, and I think the militias will force the sheriffs in the counties to either do their job or get rid of them, because it really comes down to your local. And I believe that Donald Trump has been saying this. He said it all during his first campaign. He said it all during when he was president. He's saying it now. You have to take care of your local area. The feds can't do anything without you inviting them in. And that is true. So that means that the most important person to elect in your county is the sheriff. There's nobody higher than the sheriff in your county. And if that's true, I believe that the militias are going to move against those sheriffs that are not doing their constitutional duty and either force them to do it or get somebody who will.
Now, saying that, what do you think of the Jeffrey Epstein drop that's supposed to happen in a couple of weeks?
Don't you think that's quite convenient that all this stuff happened on the same day?
Isn't it interesting that a few people say they're going to leave?
I think
Stephen King and Kevin Spacey said they would leave the United States if that list gets released. Why? They're probably on it.
They're probably on it. And the biggest, loudest voice against trying to get that stopped was Dick Durbin in the Congress. He was the loudest voice saying, no, we can't have that out there. And guess what? It's going to be out there. I think he's on the list. I absolutely do think he's on the list.
Well, I think Justin Trudeau was on those flight logs, wasn't he? Or I know he was in Epstein's black book.
I don't know, but see, I do think this is not the flight logs. This is, I think, actually the black book.
But that black book, they released that 3-4 years ago.
No, I think that was the flight list that they released. I'm pretty sure it was the flight list, not the black book. Now, I've seen something that looks like it could be, but whatever it is, there's a client list and it's going to be released. But I did find that it was interesting that there was 170 on it to begin with, and now there's only 150. It's been reduced.
Yeah, because someone's making deals. People are making deals to get off that list, whether it's cash, favors, now, whatever it might be. But I'm sure that there's going to be considerably fewer on that list by the time it's actually released, because bribes, money talks. There we go. I just want to say hello to everybody who's on the west coast of Florida there, who are in the room right now, especially those who said they're from Indian Rocks Beach. I know the area incredibly well. I've got to get down to Indian Rocks Beach at some point and dump my parents' ashes in the water there. So join me for some fish sticks or something when I get down there and do so. I absolutely adore Indian Rocks Beach, Indian Shores, Johns Pass, Tarpon Springs. That whole area is just amazing. So hello to everybody in Florida. You touched my heart because I love Florida. All right. Adrian's got to bring in, let's do it. You're going to do the draw. You're going to grab the winner for tonight.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Okay, here we go, Kevin.
Shake it up there, buddy.
Yeah, I mix them all up in there. And I have a ticket.
Who's winning?
It is Gord Roberge.
Roberge. All right. So we know who Gord is. Gord's out in Winterpeg.
Congratulations.
Winnipeg, Manitoba. Congratulations, Gord, on winning that pot tonight. I'll get a hold of you as soon as the show is over. All right. Thanks, Adrian. Appreciate your hard work.
You're welcome.
One more quick question, April. Thanks, Adrian. Where do you think Jeffrey Epstein is living right now?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, it's hard to tell whether he's alive or dead, but you know what? Out of all the people that I think might still be alive, I really think it's John McAfee.
Really?
That's the only one I think that might be still alive. Out of all these people that they say,
Not
oh,
Elvis?
they're still alive. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But the only one that I really think might still be alive is John McAfee. I don't think the other ones really are. I don't see the point for them to be alive.
Well, I think Jeffrey Epstein is alive because everybody knows he didn't kill himself.
Well, yeah.
Where's the body? Where's the funeral?
Well, none of these guys killed themselves. Chester Bennington didn't kill himself. I mean, there was a whole bunch of people. Anthony Bourdain, he didn't kill himself. They say that all that stuff was suicide. It wasn't suicide. No way. I don't believe that for a second. They were all killed with the same tie. Really? You know what I'm saying? No.
Did Jeffrey Epstein have a funeral?
Well, he was a scumbag. What difference does it make?
Was there a funeral?
I have no idea. Bailey might have shed a tear. She might have had a little service in her backyard. Who knows?
Look, even past presidents that we know are rotten died, and they even had funerals. We know they committed a lot of crimes. Where's
I
Jeff
have no idea whether.
funeral?
I don't know. Is it a requirement that when somebody dies, they have to have a funeral?
Not
No,
even-
it's part of our culture to have a funeral or of some type or a service of some type.
Yeah, but there's only one person that would have been crying at that funeral, and that's Ghislaine Maxwell. Nobody else would want to show up.
Yeah, well, you're right.
Because if they showed up, then they're on the list.
Yeah.
It can't happen.
All right.
So,
Well,
yeah.
April, we're down to our last 5 minutes, so I'm going to give you the floor for 3 of those. What concluding statements would you like to make about this Trump nonsense, the indictments, whatever? Pick it. Pick the topic on Trump. You're up. Go ahead.
I don't think that we have to worry about whether or not Trump is going to be on the ballot or whether he's going to be the number one choice. I think the only real worry we have is the election system. That's it. And if we don't get that fixed and we don't monitor it ever along the way, and we don't ask for paper ballots to be hand counted, it's possible they could steal it again like they did before. That's the biggest worry I think we have.
Personally, I
And then we
think
get,
Klaus Schwab promised us a cyber pandemic. And I'd almost be willing to put some money on the fact that it's going to happen just before the U.S. election.
Well, just so you know,
they're going to lock us down again before the election. Yes. And someone's asking here in the TikTok room, do you think they're going to assassinate Trump?
no, I think they're going to assassinate the big guy, Pedo Pete.
Pedo Pete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that guy's a goner.
Really?
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah,
think
and I think he's going to be replaced by Gavin Newsom.
Oh,
Wow.
you mean the United States will never celebrate Christmas again? Is that what you're saying?
I am saying that the rest of the people in the United States of America are going to do whatever they want because this crap that they're trying to push on us, people are over it. It's not going to happen in the Midwest. I can tell you that. There's people wearing masks right now that there's 1 to 2,000. And the rest of the people are looking at them like, are you crazy? So I don't think, no. I mean, the people where I live weren't locked down to begin with. They were like, try it. I dare you. Never happened.
That's the correct reaction. That is the correct reaction. Well, April, tell the audience here how people can find you online, because I suggest strongly to everybody, watch April's show. Go ahead.
Okay, my show is 2 to 3 Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, and it is on youtube.com/April LaJune, rumble.com/April LaJune, Facebook, Real April LaJune, Cloud Hub also. Same thing. It's all April LaJune. And then also you can join me on TikTok at Real April LaJune, because my other one got banned. So this one at Real April LaJune. You'll see my face in a Christmas ball.
They did the same thing to me. Mine used to be KevinJJohnston. Now it's Real KevinJJohnston. But April, we got to do some lives together on TikTok, because for some reason TikTok's live feature is the best one out there of them all. Just crazy how that works. I hate TikTok, but it works.
I know. Same here.
It absolutely works. April, thank you for being here. It's always great to see you. It's always great to get your insight. We certainly love having our American friends on the show.
Well, I like this show, and I'm so glad you're still doing it.
I left Canada. I am no longer bound by Canadian law or hate speech laws or court injunctions or anything else down here. I'm saying a lot, to the point where the cops are calling me to say, you got to tone it down. It's hilarious. And they have no jurisdiction. I'm going to get louder, a lot louder, a lot more often. Believe me, we're going to have fun with this. It's almost like I've got more freedom of speech than Americans and Canadians combined.
I'm also on Twitter. She's X at Real April June. I'm also there too.
That's fantastic.
She's reminding me.
Oh,
all right.
I'm glad. Yeah, there you go. You're being reminded. We are. It was wonderful to have you again, April. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome. I'll
We'll
see
be
you
in
later.
touch. All right. Merry Christmas to you, by the way.
Oh, she dropped
Merry
out.
Christmas. All right, Ed. That's all right. Your concluding statement there, Ed, because we got to go.
If anyone sees Jeffrey Epstein walking around, send those pictures, send that video to KevinJJohnston.me, please.
Yeah, just go to my website, KevinJJohnston.me. All right. Take the scrolling banner down there so people can see the website address. Thank you, boss. There it is, KevinJJohnston.me. A lot of people were asking me about buying Costa Rican properties. If you have any questions about that, go to KevinJJohnston.me. Use the contact form. Please put Costa Rica in the subject line. I'll get back to you within 24 hours. If you are serious about moving down to Costa Rica, you should know some stuff. I know that stuff. I'll tell you everything that I know about it. Ed, Merry Christmas, bro. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, we'll see you Tuesday. We're doing a show Tuesday, aren't we?
We're doing a show Tuesday. Christmas is over by that time. Tuesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, we do the Kevin J. Johnston Show. Don't miss a beat.
Okay, great. We got Vlad coming on. Hopefully he'll be on this Tuesday. He's going to teach us what to watch out for as far as the loony left, Antifa. We're going to be hitting on a lot of interesting topics.
Right?
We're going to change the way you look at life in general, guys. And I think you'll be thank us for bringing this information to you. See you Tuesday,
There's a lot. There's Vlad. Yeah, it's the different Vlad, and there's a lot that this guy knows. It's going to be a great show to have him on there, so you can get quite a bit of knowledge as to how Antifa, Black Lives Matter, the Communist League, and all these crazy maniacs got started in the first place. Ed, thanks for being here, pal. We'll see you then. All right, everybody. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Kevin J. Johnston Show that runs absolutely every Tuesday and Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 6 p.m. Pacific Time. We cover the topics that nobody else will cover. And now that I am no longer bound by Canadian hate speech laws or Canadian law in general, the show is going to get just that much more interesting, that much more controversial. We're going to upset that many more crazy maniacs on the left wing. Thank you for being here. Merry Christmas to all of you. Please enjoy your time with your family. Turn the idiot box off. Turn the computer off. Stop listening to the news. Just spend time with friends and family. Hug everyone you know. Eat lots of turkey. Sleep in the next day. I love you all, everybody. We'll see you next week. Good night. I want to say Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. I'm just going to hold on. Let me end the show here. And